Alright, so we're going to go over the SQL project. I'm going to do another video making sure everybody's got SQL Server and SMSS installed properly. But essentially we're supposed to be making a set of a database that's going to be for SLCC, essentially, where it's all the things you would need to make an SLCC database. So when we went over in class, I wrote down student table, advisor table, departments table, teacher table, and classes table. I'm talking with Alex, I think Mike earlier, well, not Mike, Alex and maybe Dale yesterday, talking about because certain things are dependent on the other, doing a top-down approach. So we started with students in class, but for instance, the student table is going to need advisor, right? And if it needs advisor and we haven't created the advisor table, then how are we going to get the advisor into the table without having to go back and backtrack? So to prevent that, I think we'll start with, just starting with departments, move to classes, and then or we do departments and then teachers and then classes, maybe, because let's try that. Departments, then teachers, then classes, then advisors. Let's see, because either way, no matter what we do, they're gonna have a unique identifier that's gonna be, stuck in there. So I do have all the stuff that we wrote down already, which was creating tables, and then inserting into the table. So let's go ahead and start with the first command, which is going to be create database SLCC. So I'm over here. I've got my computer, the SQL Server I'm connected to. I'm going to go ahead and click databases, and I'm going to do new query, and we're going to type create, again all caps, create database SLCC, semicolon. And then we should execute it, and there we go. It says commands completed successfully. Now I am going to try and make this bigger. This is 150. Let's make it 200. Let's see how that looks. See if that's easier for you guys to read. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and kind of skinny this down, and we'll shimmy this over as well. I guess it's not playing ball. Okay, so that's our first query. We've made the database. So you can call it whatever the hell you want. You can call it. We can even do this SLCC test and make another one. Execute. Command completed successfully. So now if I come to databases, lo and behold, I have SLCC and SLCC test right here on the left-hand side. So let's go ahead into SLCC. You can see we've got database diagrams, tables, views, external, synonyms, probability, etc., etc. We're going to be focused on tables at first. So instead of retyping into this like I just did, we're going to hit new query. All right. When I hit new query, we're going to go ahead and let's start again. Let's start with our top down, right? So let's start with departments. So we're going to do create table departments, and then we need to tell it what we want in that department, right? So we're gonna want a couple things, not that many, to be fair. We're gonna hit for the sake of keeping things nice and neat. I think a lot of this you can do in one line. We don't really care what the primary key or the unique identifier for the departments are. I don't think it's not like with the students where we'd want their Lola ID. I feel like we can just let it auto-generate it. So that was a command that we went over, which is down here. we did identity right here, and then a number, and then you also make sure to write primary key so that it knows it's a primary key. So that's not going to change if it's the unique identifier for it. And you see how it says table city, we did city ID int identity. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same thing, except we're going to do it on the next line. We're going to do, what was the beginning command? We're going to do create table. Got it. Now we're going to do department ID underscore ID. Remember, if you're doing any spaces, you need to have a underscore. We're going to do int identify, and then if you look down here, the command wants you to put in parentheses a length or a starting number or a starting integer, and then an interval that it will go up at. We don't have that many departments, so let's start at 10,000 and we'll go up 50. Just some arbitrary numbers there. And then we're going to type in primary key after that. And doing that tells it, hey, this is our identifier for this table. It's important. This is unique. So we're going to put a comma at the end of that. And then our next thing, what do we want from the department? Well, we want to know what that's its unique identifier, right? We want to know what the name of the department is, what classes are in it, right? What else? Is there a department head, maybe? Which that would be a teacher, right? There's not that much that goes in here, but we're going to go ahead and put department name. And that's going to be a character. And if we come back here and we look at our characters, character, you can do character or varchar. Varchar allows for some wiggle room. It'd want to assign all of those. We're going to do char for this one. Keep it simple. What's the longest name it could be? I don't know. Information technology is pretty long. Let's just go ahead and make it 40 to cover ourselves. Make sure we got enough space. Actually, 30 should be good. Let's do 30. Then put another comma. And that was department name. So we got department ID, department name, classes. Let's see. What else could we put in departments? The classes, obviously, we need that. That's going to be a unique identifier as well, which of course the courses are right here. They're going to have one of their values. So let's see, department's got a name. I would say department head, right? At least have a name for that. Department underscore head, and we'll do varchar for this. And we'll make it 50. I'm trying to think what else you need for department. Location. Right? I mean, is that important? I feel like department's not terribly important, but let's do location, department, location, and we'll make this a varchar as well, and we'll do 50 as well. And then let's do department. We said classes, so it's courses, right? But department ID, department name, department head, department location. Yeah, department. Let's go to department courses, and that's going to be a unique identifier. And depending on how we do our courses, I think we're making our course ID unique as well. I was talking about the CRN in class, so we're going to make it a unique integer. So it'll be integer. Classes have a CRN. A CRN number. That was the canvas reference number we talked about. Let's do this. Department prefix. Let's do this. Let's back up. Let's do department prefix. That's going to be a char. And that's only going to be 4, right? Because it's got those first 4, INTE. Prefix. Then we'll do department courses. And that'll be an int. Well, we'll just treat it as a char as well, and that'll be 4. Okay, I feel pretty good about this. I feel like that's good enough, right? And then when we're done, we're gonna put a parentheses and a semicolon. Now again, a lot of this is just making it look nice. As far as it functioning, you could probably just do it all in one line, but this makes it look nicer, right? So again, we've got create table departments. Department ID is the integer. It's a unique ID integer. It's going to give it to us on its own. Department name, character, department head varchar, department location varchar, department prefix char, and department courses char. So we're basically treating that like, hardware building number room 345 or something like that. The location prefix is going to be those first 4 numbers, and then from there, the courses will be the number, the actual 4 number ID, which we're going to treat like a primary key as well. Should we put primary key here? Let's see. Let's double check. Primary key. Yeah, we should, because it's going to be a primary key. A table can only have 1 primary key. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought there was only 1. All right. So this is done. Let's go ahead and click execute. Incorrect syntax on identify. What did I do wrong? What did we do wrong? Identity. Identity, not identify. Whoops. All right, there we go. Identity, not identify. I know you've probably been screaming at me telling me it's wrong. Okay, commands computer successfully. So that means if we go here to tables now, we should see departments, which I don't. So where the hell it went? All right, so I figured it out. A little bit of digging, and it had put the query here in master. So you see here I have DBO departments right here. So we're going to go ahead and leave it for now. What I did do was I came down here to SLCC. I was searching through all this, trying to find it. What I did do is right-click on SLCC new query, and that's this one right here. And I just copied and pasted this into this. So now if we hit execute, now we should get a table in here. So refresh. Sure enough, there is DBO database departments. So we're going to go ahead and delete this. All right, that's gone. So now we shouldn't have to worry about master anymore. Now, hopefully, if we do new query again, it should do it from SLCC, but we'll have to make sure and keep track. So that's databases. That's done. So we can populate it now. I'm going to go ahead and just try and knock out making all of our tables first, and then we can go from there. So again, we're going to do teachers next. So let's go ahead and click on SLCC, new query, and I'm assuming that that's, I wish it told you. Wish it told you a little better. Well, we'll go from there. Create table teachers. We're going to do parentheses. And then we're going to say what? What's our teachers? Teachers got to have what? Teacher ID. That's going to be the first thing. That's going to be our unique identifier. So teacher ID, it's going to be a char, and it's going to be, we're not going to do identity because we're going to give it, but it is going to be our unique identifier. So it's going to be our primary key. We're going to treat this like a Lola, which Lola, let's say 8. How many does Lola have? Lola has what, 10? Let's do 10. I'm pretty sure it's 10. Okay. And then primary key, comma. Teacher first, let's just do first name. First name, char, and let's do varchar. Let's do 30. Then last name, varchar 30 as well. Okay, what else does a teacher need? Department, so that's from another table, all right? Department ID, and we made department ID what? Made it a 5. We'll say it's an int. It's an int, and we'll make it. We made it 5. We'll make it 6 long, just in case. Not gonna be that many departments, but we know for sure we'll be covered. All right. And then course ID. So this is all the courses that this teacher would teach. The thing is, teachers can teach more. It's really weird how we're gonna have to finagle this, but course ID is going to be a unique identifier, is it not? Yeah, we're treating course ID as that 4-letter number. So we'll do course prefix, and that's going to be a char 4. And we'll do course ID, char 4, and then okay, here's the thing though. If we do department ID, we don't need department ID. We can just do department prefix, right? We can do department prefix and then department courses. And that would tell us what department they're in. So we actually don't need this, right? If we do department prefix, right? And then course ID, right? That makes sense. Because we know what department they're in based off of that. We need to know if they're an advisor or not, but we're not doing like a yes or no statement, so I'm not too sure how that's going to work. So we're just going to, for now, they need teacher's name, course ID. They need office location, and we'll make that a varchar 20, and then we'll do office hours. We'll make that a varchar 20 as well, and then we'll do teacher phone, and that will be what? How many digits? 4 is 10, right? 3, and 4. So that will be char 10, and then teacher underscore email will be a school email. So we'll say char 40, just in case they have a really long name. And I feel like that's it. We know their name, they have their unique identifier, their department, what courses they teach. Look, office location, office hours, teachers, email, phone. Okay. And then we're going to put our semicolon. Okay. So this should create our table for teachers. Let's go ahead and execute. And then we come right here and we click refresh. Click on tables. Sure enough, there's teachers. Cool. So teachers is there, departments is there. All right, done. Now let's move on to the next one, which is going to be the classes. So we'll go ahead and click on SLCC, new query, and we're going to create table courses. Then open parentheses, course underscore ID. So that's going to be that course number, but course ID is what we're calling it, right? But this will be that 4-letter number. That's a unique identifier. I want to call this the CRN. This will be the unique identifier. We're going to give it this. And then from there, we'll have course ID, course name. So let's call this CRN ID. And that's going to be a 5. All right, so I looked it up. CRN is 5 numbers. So our table is going to use those CRN numbers to sort everything. They're 5 numbers. So every course at SLCC has its own unique CRN number, which is 5 numbers. We're going to go ahead. Let's make it 6 so we have a little wiggle room, but it is for sure 5. Okay, and I did check Lola was 9, so we did 10 on Lola, so we're good. Okay, so now we're going to tie back into what we have over here, which is prefix and course. Right? Come on, what you doing? There we go. Okay, that was it's been doing that. I don't know why. We're going to do course prefix, which is actually just a department prefix, because we can tie that in. Department prefix, right? And we know that is a char, and it is 4. And then we have course ID. We know that's 4. It's a char, and it's 4, comma. Okay. We're also going to have course name. So, for instance, SQL Server is the name of the course, right? Course underscore name, and we're going to make that char. We'll make it a varchar, and we'll make it 30. I don't think any courses will be that long, but you never know. We'll leave ourselves some wiggle room. Course underscore credits. That will be a single-digit integer, but we're not going to use it as an integer, so I guess, well, no, actually we might. So let's leave it as integer, and we'll do 2 just to be sure. Course credits, department prefix, you can see I have that here. Course number, department prefix, so that's our course ID. And then teacher ID. So our teacher ID is going to sync up with what? This right here, our teacher ID. Right? So we're going to do teacher underscore ID, and that's going to be a char 10. And is there anything else we need? Courses. I know we could get into scheduling and all that, but I feel like we're trying to keep it semi-simple, so we're not going to put that. So a course has a prefix, has a number, a name, credits, a teacher, and I would say what semester it's available, but I think that's just let's just do course location. Course location, and then we'll make that a char, and we'll make it 20. Hardware and building, yeah, we'll just do that. Okay. And I think that's it. We'll put our close parentheses and semicolon. Okay. So now we hit execute. Cannot specify a column with Column parameter or variable number 5 cannot specify a column width on data type int. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Oh. Well, then let's just make it a char. Why not? Let's make it simple. Alright. Now let's execute. Okay. Cool. Done. Unless we did int. When else did we do int? We didn't do int any other where. Let's leave it like that. Or what else did we put? We put int somewhere else, didn't we? Yeah. Let's leave it like that. Okay, so it's completed. So now if we refresh right here in the top left, you can see, boom, click on SLCC tables. There you go. We got teachers. Okay. So coming back to here, we've got departments, teachers, courses. Now we need advisors. So advisors and students, right? So let's go ahead and click on SLCC, new query. And let's go ahead and type in create table, and we're going to call this advisors. Open parentheses. Advisor is just going to have advisor ID, which will make it just a randomized number. So that's int identity. And we'll do we'll start at let's start at 50,000 and we'll go up 50. Okay, primary key. We had a primary key on this last one, did we not? Yes, we did. Okay, make sure I forgot that, comma. Okay, advisor ID. Advisor first. Let's just do first name. Name. That's going to be a char, and we did what, 30. Last underscore name, char 30. Okay, department ID. Now we did what for department ID? Or department prefix. We just did char 4. So this is what department they're in. Prefix char 4. Okay. And then once again we're gonna have advisor phone. That's gonna be char 10. We're gonna have advisor email. We're gonna make that what, char 30? Is that what we did? Char 40. Char 40. And then advisor underscore location, char 20. And then we do office hours. Yeah. Office location, office hours. Let's keep it the same. Well, okay, so here's the thing. We don't need any of that if we have an advisor. If we have an advisor, all advisors are teachers, right? So essentially, we'll already have that information filled out there. So all we need from them is the teacher ID. So we don't need any of this because we can just do teacher ID. Because every advisor is going to be a teacher already. Teacher ID. And then we did what? Teacher ID is what? 10 characters. So char 10. So that'll pull all the information for the teacher. That way we'll be able to access the phone number, email, office hours, office location. Okay? I think that's all we need from the advisor. First name, last name. I mean, in all fairness, we can pull first name, last name from teacher as well. Why don't we do that? Teacher ID char 10. What else do you need for the advisor? That's all the information. I think that's good. So we'll pull all that data from the teacher column, right? Which makes sense, right? You got the database, you're pulling information from it. But they have a department prefix in there as well. Yeah, we don't even need this. So we'd be associating an advisor ID with the teacher ID. It's basically that. Okay? Let's click execute. Completed successfully. Alright, let's refresh. Go to tables. Sure enough, there's advisors. Cool. Done. Alright. Last but not least, our student table. So let's go ahead and click on SLCC. New query. Create table students. Okay. First thing is going to be Lola ID, and that's going to be char, and we're going to do 10, and that's going to be primary key. Now we'll do student, or just first name. First name, we did what, 30. Last name 30. We did 30 on first and last name, did we not? Yeah. Well, we did varchar. Okay, let's do varchar. Let's varchar 30. Varchar 30. Okay. Home address. Varchar. We'll make it 100, just so we can fill in the whole. Just type it all in. All right. So now, we're gonna call it major, or we can just call it department, because that's the department they're under, right? Or we'll type in major. Major would be different necessarily than the department. So we're gonna do address, home address, student, email. And we said, when we did email, what did we put? char 40. Okay. Student email. Student phone. It's going to be char 10. And what are we doing? Let's look at what we've already written, right? We come down here. Student address, city, zip code. So we did all this. We did it like that. Okay. So let's keep with that student address. We did varchar 75, so we'll keep it that way. 75. Student city. Varchar 25, and student zip code, we're going to do char 5. And then email, phone number. Okay, cool. And then what? Back up to students right here. We have what? Who their advisor is. So we need to do major, student major. And we'll do var char 30 again, just to be sure. I spelled student wrong. And we're going to do student advisor. And we're going to do what? Advisor was... Advisor has a unique identifier. So we'll do... I don't know why it does this with the thing. Let's do char 6. And that should be it, right? That covers what our student... All we need from the student: know what their major is, know their address, contact information, and they have a Lola ID, so it's primary keyed. I think that's it. Let's go ahead and click execute. Commands completed successfully. Let's go ahead and refresh. Look at our table. Sure enough, there is our 5 tables. All right, I'm going to end it off here, and this will be the first part, which was making our tables.